All right, it is the news segment, February 19th, 2021. My name is Ken. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. No Robert today, so Wendy is going to be running the
Hey,
news. But real quick,
Oh,
let's go around and see what everyone's drinking while Wendy's preparing. Nicholas, what are you drinking?
hey, I actually remember the mute button that time. Um, I got refilled my 312 Goose Island, and because my brother-in-law did a beer dump on me, I'm drinking a Sam Adams Summer Ale, even though
oh,
it's winter.
what's it like 2 degrees there right now?
Uh, Last time I looked, it was like 26, but that was
Ugh,
like 4 hours ago, so it's probably in the single
Oh,
digits
wow.
right
We're
digits
having
a
a
heat
heat
now.
wave.
Wave.
It's
this
26
is
now.
26.
26. Hey, it's 26 and the freaking snow is melting on my driveway.
It
Oh,
was
turn
nice
into
and
ice for
balmy.
you.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
Dan, what are you drinking over there?
I'm still working on the seltzer because I got a few of these. They're actually pretty damn good.
Dan's rocking the seltzer. Wendy, what are you drinking?
Well, for flagship February, I thought I would go with a Buzzsaw IPA from Arbor Brewing Company.
Oh, look at that little
One of
new
my
can.
one of my favorite stories about Buzzsaw is that I was pouring beer at a web one time, the year that they won Best in Show, and I don't think that the 4 hours that I poured that tap ever closed. It was crazy.
Wow.
But this is a Tropi Tango Buzzsaw, so it's a little twist on their flagship. So I thought that was fun.
Well, I am still rocking this Parish Brewing Sacred Islands. I've got this much left, which
Get to
uh,
work.
I'm going slow. I did hear myself at the end of the news last week, and I was definitely talking slow. So I want to make sure that I'm rocking through it and
And
going
you
through it.
wanted to finish that one too.
Well, this was last week. I did the four Calibans, so this that was a few weeks ago that I finished
That
a
was
different
2 weeks
one.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but Wendy, the news. What's going on? Talk to us.
So
Um,
there was a story that came out a couple days ago that caught my eye on a few different channels. There is a lawsuit that was brought against Red Robin regarding their Stella Artois, I can never say that right,
Artois.
Artois sales um, that's been making the headlines. The the whole gist behind the lawsuit is that people were expecting to get a 16-ounce pour, and the Stella glasses are actually 14 ounces.
Oh,
So
jeez.
they were claiming that Red Robin was promising them 16 ounces, they were getting 14. They tried to file a class action lawsuit, and
Oh,
the
God.
federal judge, Jennifer A. Dorsey, actually ruled that the lawsuit would not meet the $5 million minimum that is required by the Class Action Fairness Act of 2005 and sent it back to the state courts. So, my first question before I get into my favorite part of the story is, have you guys ever had an issue with something like that?
I mean, the first thing that I could think of when it comes to beer references is when they reference like imports, and you see something that says like Killian's import.
Yeah.
Um, Now, if I recall, pint, while also being a measurement of 16 ounces, pint glass is not a 16-ounce glass. It is a style of glass.
True.
Um, because I remember, I don't remember if it was either Nick or Dan or even somebody else in our social group, but going to Vegas and having the world's tallest pint glass. Um, and it's the pint glass is just a style of glass. So I'm guessing. Now I've seen the Stella glasses. I saw them at the Great Lakes Wine and Spirits Festival, I believe, something around there. But again, I think
Stella
it's
glasses are not pint glasses, though, either.
that. Yeah, that's where like I'm
So,
ruining my own argument.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that would actually fly. The judge actually did some numbers and figured out that um, the 2 ounces that they would have been missing based on the actual portion of sales that were Stella Artois would be not enough to meet that minimum requirement. So she sent it back to the states. But the funniest part of it was the wording that she used in the thing to send it in her um decision to send it back to the states. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there were things like um, a previous remand motion took the fizz out of Red Robin's calculations. The restaurateur distills its numbers down. She encouraged temperance. She wrote that Red Robin tried to tap its past sales figures. Um, they could reach the CAFA required fill line, and some of the chain's math was a strange brew, and that they did not address a stout numerical disparity. So, because Red Robin's figures are mostly a foam and fail to satisfy CAFA's jurisdictional amount in controversy threshold, I grant the motion. So she sent it back to the states, but she did, I think it was like 13 puns in the decision, which I think is fabulous.
I
That's
mean,
great.
I'm guessing she wrote that, she obviously knows what she's talking about, and I respect puns like that. Like I love when something can be punny and funny and um a little extra when it comes to something very serious. I've been definitely known to be very off kilter when it comes to you're supposed to be serious, and here I am about to make a joke about, what's the famous bare naked ladies quote? I'm the kind of guy that laughs at a funeral.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just one of those. Um, you're just trying to make a point. If you go to a brewery, not a brewery, but a bar, and they're pouring pints, and not necessarily short pouring you, but I've been to B Dubs countless times, and the garbage of way that they pour Guinness, like I get short poured all the time, and sooner or later you just accept it or don't order it. I don't know what you guys think. I mean, I'm all ears for if you think it's worth the 2 ounces.
No, the only time I get
No.
mad is when they sell you a barrel aged beer in a smaller glass and a pint glass. It's like, come on, man, stop being stingy.
I mean, I don't know if it's stingy as much as the ABV. They don't want you, walking out there fucking half cocked. I
And
went
it
to
costs them twice as much.
I went to Townies last weekend, and they had a barrel aged beer, and they're like, "Do you want it in 16 or 20 ounce?" And I'm like,
Oh,
"Excuse
Oh.
me."
Huh?
yeah. Yes,
Uh,
please.
well, what was funny is I said
Yes.
16, and he goes, "Oh, that's our barrel age. We only serve that in 12." And I'm like, "All right,
Oh,
good, thank
jeez.
God."
So, funny story about that. We um a couple of friends and I used to go to a certain pub in East Point that did $5 boombas,
Oh
Oh,
and
Jesus.
we could get a boomba of Final Absolution for $5.
sounds like something that
So
would happen at Augie's.
Oh,
so
jeez.
$20, you would get two boombas of Final Absolution. You would tip your bartender $10, and you were good for the whole night.
I was gonna say
And
that
we
sounds.
always had to check our receipts in the morning to make sure we paid our bill.
My
Yeah, that
gosh.
that always reminds me of Fast Eddie's over in
Fast
Oh,
East
that
Point.
X.
place.
Oh
Oh,
man.
I don't recall what it is now, but I remember getting nine.
J JP Shakers.
Yeah, I was getting $9 pitchers of Final Absolution, or $10 pitchers of Final Absolution over there.
Oh,
Because you
okay.
could do like the high quality beers, which was like Sam Adams Cherry, Guinness, and Final Abso, and you could get like the pitchers for $10, and I'm like, all right, beer math here. In my head, I'm thinking, how much alcohol per ounce. What am I? When you're drinking on a budget, that stuff matters to me.
yeah.
Yes,
Fair
it
enough.
does.
Yeah, it
if,
does.
if if I ain't going to like a gathering place where it's buy one get one Boombas, or I'm going to Michelob Ambers at Madison Club, or $2 Bell's Ambers at Loon, like I used to be a fiscal drinker where I was drinking well, smarter and harder. Sorry, I was drinking harder, not smarter. There we go. That's a way to put that on. Wendy, what other news do we got?
So, USA Today has a 10 best small town beer scene. There's actually a whole bunch of different categories that you can vote on. But Traverse City made it in the small town beer scene category. So I thought I would talk about that a little bit. Um, you can vote until March 26th at USA Today. I'll put the link up on the site so that everybody can go and vote. Um, Avondale Estates in Georgia, Bar Harbor, Maine, Berlin, Maryland, Boone, North Carolina, Breckenridge, Colorado. Is that a small city, really?
I guess so. I mean, I'm assuming there's a pop. It might be a tourist city, but it's maybe a small city.
Okay. Decorah, Iowa. I'm dying to go there. Derby, Connecticut. Fredericksburg, Texas. Hamilton, New Jersey. Hood River, Oregon. Lake Placid, New York. I think they have a movie. Maple Shade, New Jersey. Mouth. I can't
Portsmouth.
talk anymore. Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Awesome town,
Rehoboth,
by the way.
Delaware. Saratoga Springs, New York. Spearfish, South Dakota. Taos, New Mexico. Tarpon Springs, Florida. Traverse City, Michigan, and Waitsfield, Vermont are in the running. So I'm just wondering if anybody has been to any of those towns.
I
I
was
was. Oh, go on, Nick.
I was gonna say I've been to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, when my wife and I did our last anniversary trip, pre-COVID, when we did New England and in New York City, and that is a pretty cool little old town. It's pretty cool. They got some breweries down there. We went to one of them. Good food, good beer. It's a pretty cool town.
There's there for all the driving and traveling I did between like Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, and Wisconsin. The only place in there is Traverse City, so I am not shocked that I haven't been to any of these cities. Breckenridge has less than 5,000 population, so I'm guessing that's why it's a small town. Um, just so you know. But I mean, Traverse City makes sense. I think there's just so much to love about Traverse City. And I think there's a lot to do outside of the city that really allows for Traverse City to be a good spot to where you can get out of the city and still, get to wineries and cideries and casinos, and you're on the water. So much water area over there on the couple peninsulas. So, um, I mean, if you're a vacationer, I think it's a hot spot.
Well, it's definitely a list that has changed a little bit of my view. I have been to a couple places, Tarpon Springs in Florida, and the Avondale Estates in Georgia. It actually has one of my favorite breweries in Georgia, Wild Heaven. We had a fantastic time there. I got a tattoo a little ways away, and we had the best Philly cheesesteak that we've ever had outside of Philadelphia at your grandma's basement or your mom's basement, something along those lines, right down the street from Wild Heaven.
I definitely am adding some of these names to the list. I feel like you could almost do this within the state of Michigan too, and just create a handful of small little towns like St. Clair Shores or um, Muskegon, or if you're up in the UP, got Marquette. Like there's so many great places that you could have in nicer weather. Um, uh, Great Michigan tourist um, times. What I would love is a place, give me some places with the best dive bars, like the best local watering holes where I can go and get my $1.50 PBR because the guy I'm pulling up next to showed up at 11 a.m. because he walked there from his house and he has a running tab that gets paid every Friday by his kids. Uh, those are the kinds of places that I love finding when I'm traveling. So if you're out and you're going around Michigan, you want to find some of those places. I'm your who hosts diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Guy
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 Fieri.
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 I'm your Guy Fieri for Michigan bars for sure. Wendy, let's get one more news article in.
All right, so there is a brewery in Knoxville, Tennessee that last week posted, inspired by their local CSA programs. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a crop share type of thing. It's a veggie thing that a lot of farms do, where you can pay a certain amount of money and every week you get fresh fruits and vegetables. Um, Print Shop Beer Company in Knoxville, Tennessee, has decided to put together a beer CSA program. So for 13 weeks between April 3rd and June 26th, they are going to have a CSA program where you pay $350, and every week you get 2 crowlers of your choosing to help you branch out, a crowler or of their choosing to help you branch out, 1 crowler of your choosing for your favorite, a crowler tote bag, 10% off additional crowlers and merchandise, 2 tickets to a quarterly brewery tour and a brewer's flight, a shirt or hat of your choosing, and 2 pint glasses. My question is to you guys, is this something that you would be interested in?
I don't know if I could commit that long, especially because crawlers only have a certain lifespan.
It'd be
Um,
3 crowlers a week.
yeah, that's
Ooh.
Is
three
that
crow.
too much for you, Ken?
Ugh.
I mean, yes, like I still don't drink as much beer as I did when we started this show. Um, and when I do, it's on a special occasion, not weekly. Um, and that's definitely a little too much for me. If you could get me bottles or cans or something like that, like a 6 pack or something, yeah, I could hold on to that and throw it in the beer fridge and crack it open on the weekends. But crowlers, when you're dealing with crowlers or growlers or howlers or prowlers or whatever owler that you have, um, yeah, for me that's a little too long. 13 weeks is too long.
I'm just kind of curious as to what size the crowlers are. Because if it's a
I'm guessing they're
16
30.
ounce crowler,
I'm guessing they're 32-ounce crawlers. Usually
you know,
crawler, industry standard when you say crawler is usually 32 ounces. Standard, not always, but if you told me you're giving me a crawler of beer, I'm expecting a 32-ounce crawler can.
so would any of you be interested in some type of subscription service like that?
It's a lot of beer. I don't know.
Yeah.
And all of
I
a
feel
sudden
the
you've got
same way.
I
19 IPAs sitting around.
the answer is yes. If one, I could choose at least a flavor profile. So I'm not getting IPAs. Two, if there's a smaller version, where it's maybe 1-in-1 and not 1-in-1 and not 2-in-1. Because I mean, like the additional crowlers and merchandise and stuff, like I don't need that shirt and hat, like the pint glasses. I mean, I don't need more glassware. So I mean, if there was a smaller, like an amateur version, I'd probably be in. Or a shorter version, a half season.
Half
Right?
season.
Can I get a 6.5 week membership? Because that'd probably be good.
I
I,
don't
I'd re
know.
I'd renew it every 13 weeks, but if you gave me like 6.5 on, 6.5 off, it'd be better. Um, I mean with Michigan, I'd be curious how they get like the deliverables to these people if we could pull it off here in the
I
state.
think you would have to go and pick it up. I don't think that.
I mean, if you have an aggregator getting all the stuff, like one person go, like 8 Degrees or Zatuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills does it, or Kevin over at North Center Brewing's like, hey, I'll bring everything here and then distribute it out. Uh, those are the kinds of things that would make a little more sense. But at that point, like those places are far away, so I'd need to have somewhere closer, like a Cultivate or Stony Creek or Nick's or
I think
yeah.
it would work for something closer to you. If you're not in the beer wasteland,
Yeah, I don't think I'd go out
like
of
your
my way
local
to do
pub.
it. Yeah,
I think that would be a good thing.
I don't think I'd go out of my way to do it. But if a local bar or brewery hosted it, I'd be okay. I'd be maybe more inclined.
All right, I have one more. I know you said just one more, but just a real quick one. I just want to bring up. So Pliny the Younger was released. What, 2 weeks ago? A week ago? Something like that.
All right.
Um, it was the first time they've ever sold it online and did not do a brewery only release. And you could only ship it to a home in California. Um, I don't know if anybody else try to get any?
I don't know anybody personally that lives in California that would do this.
I just wondered if anybody else, because you know that this is one of my whales, and I've been trying to go to get Pliny the Younger in California for like the last 3 years. So I took this as my opportunity, and I reached out to every family member and friend that I knew in the area, or that might know somebody in California, and we had four of us trying to get Pliny the Younger. It was almost $100 for the box,
Oh my
and you
god.
got four Pliny the Youngers
Yep.
out of the 12 pack.
If
And
I recall correctly, they were talking about the amount of people that were on the website and how many people were on the website versus how many like beers that they had available. Like it was almost like one available purchase for every 50 people on the website.
yeah,
Wow.
It was like
ridiculous.
yeah, there was no way you were going to be able to do it unless you got lucky. And so therefore you've got 49 out of every 50 people pissed off because they
So I
were.
had I had four people trying to get a case of the mixed case with Pliny the Younger, and one of us was able to get it. My box was in my cart at 8:02. At 8:07, I got a message saying that, or at 8:02 they told me I was in line to purchase. At 8:07 they were like, "Sorry, we're sold out."
Dang.
It was literally sold out within 5 minutes, and four of us out of four, we had one person get it.
Yeah, there are with the advent of online purchases, tickets, and shows and stuff. There's going to be a need of some new software, some new customer, some new program to deal with these. Because it happens nearly every. I don't know if you, Nick, or Dan try to buy anything online that are like tickets for a show. And I'm not talking like Ticketmaster. I'm talking like just some random website that you've gone to. Like for me, like I go to QuakeCon every year. And for the major tickets, especially there was one year where there was 50 tickets for the very expensive seats at QuakeCon, and there was like 1,500 people trying to get it.
Jeez.
Um, so there's only so much you could do. You're always going to be upset, but I think there is definitely a place for a new program, a new software to come out to aggregate these types of releases so that you can sell a ticket a lot easier. Because again, a lot of people are getting into that. Oh, I put the thing in my cart, but I couldn't buy it. That's been happening for the PlayStation 5s for the past
The
handful of months.
Xbox.
As
Yeah.
3080s, 3070s, graphics cards. These things are happening, and people are just there's only so much that you could do and so much that you can try. Um, that you get it into your cart and you're like, oh well, I have it in my cart, and you think, well, I've taken one out of the quantity, but you haven't. So I don't know. There's only so much that you can do, but again, I think maybe that's what I need to do with my life is I need to create that software, and
There you go.
I mean, I
Right?
easily overnight billionaire, millionaire, at least. If you could create a good version of that software, you are good to go. That's gonna do it. The news segment. We are off as Better on Draft next week. We are gonna be hosting a special show. With the Bruise Brothers. So Rob is going to be hosting that show. I'll just be here engineering in the background, looking pretty, but you can't see because my camera will be off. Um, but they'll be talking about how what they are doing within black people in the industry to get more black people or people of color into the industry. We've been talking about this for years. And trying to figure out entries and try to eliminate barriers. The Bertie Brown scholarship over at Fermenta. There are a lot of things that people are doing, but that doesn't mean you can't do more. So that is what we are going to do next week. We will be back with Better on Draft in 2 weeks. Don't know who the guest is yet, but we'll figure it out. That's going to do it. The Better on Draft podcast. Stay tuned. King of the Hill, your reigning champion, Nicholas, is
Hey.
going to be putting up his crown to see if he wins. Guys, you can only see King of the Hill on Instagram TV. That's Better on Draft on Instagram. Unless you're watching it live, 7 p.m. Eastern Fridays, every single Friday except for next week. Maybe I'll do a fun King. I'll host a King of the Hill for them. But that's going to do a Better on Draft podcast. The news, February 19th. Thank you so much, Wendy, for stepping up and hosting it. And no matter what you think of your We Think It's, Better on Draft. Have a good night. Peace.